Okay, guys, now that we have taken a look at the costs, let's take a look at the different lead types. So we're going to start with here, non-exclusive leads. So non-exclusive leads, here's what the National Law Review had to say about non-exclusive leads. The non-exclusive lead distribution models are based on generating new case leads in a particular market area and then selling a lead to multiple attorneys that compete for it. At face value, non-exclusive lead distribution models can look quite attractive to attorneys because they typically offer a low cost per lead, such as $50 to $150 for a personal injury lead. Now, what I want to discuss with you are the problems with non-exclusive leads. Problem number one with non-exclusive leads, and this is also a fact from the National Law Review, uh, the competition is multiplied by the number of lead holders. If a lead source sells you a lead he sold to 3 to 4 competitors, you already start out at a disadvantage. Picture this. If 4 lawyers have the same lead, you start out with only a 25% chance of winning that lead because you've got not just you getting this lead. There are 4 other lawyers with this lead. So you start out with, at best, only a 25% chance of winning this lead because you and 3 other lawyers have the same lead. So when you think about how appealing a low cost per lead may appear, when you really look at it, if you have to pay for a lead that 3 other lawyers have also paid for, you start out in competition with other lawyers, not to mention that you're already competing with time. If a person has a need for a lawyer, they may call around, click around, but if they don't get captured, they're still searching. So non-exclusive leads are really not a real smart way to go if you really look at it. Now, the other problem number two with the non-exclusive leads is that they actually lower your conversion rate. Remember, you have to deal with the percentages of someone actually clicking your lead, and then you have to deal with that conversion rate, and then you have to deal with the conversion rate of after you actually have received the lead. So when you're in direct competition, starting out with a 25% conversion probability, you get that factored in to a typical industry lead conversion rate of 10%, according to the National Law Review. It lowers the lead conversion rate to 2.5%. Remember, you started at 25. Your industry average conversion rate is 10%. 10% of 25 is 2.5%. So your $50 to $150 per lead doesn't look so attractive when you realize that you start out with the odds against you. So in the example, this attorney would need to purchase 40 leads to land one new client. So basically, assuming that you're paying $100 per lead, it actually will cost you, remember I used the term cost per acquisition. It's one thing to pay for a click, but then you've got to deal with the percentages of 25% is the best you can start with because 3 other lawyers have that lead. Then your industry average is 10% of conversion. So out of that 25% chance, you're starting out at 2.5% actual conversion cost per acquisition. So in order to actually look at these numbers, it would take you 40 leads at $100 a piece in order to actually acquire a new client. So you're looking at $4,000 to actually acquire this new client. The third problem with non-exclusive leads is that they raise your cost per acquisition. Because let's take a look at this. You get a lead generation firm that's using exclusive lead distribution, and they're charging you $3,000 a month for 10 personal injury case leads. So if the cost per lead is $300, if an attorney has a 10% lead conversion rate, already you're talking about $3,000 in the same, using the same numbers from the example above. So if your lead conversion rate goes from 10 to 20%, which is more typical when you're using exclusive leads versus non-exclusive, you're talking about a 10% bump in your conversion rate. So instead of acquiring one new client for every 10 leads at a 10% conversion rate, you as an attorney could get 2 new clients for every 10 case leads if the conversion rate could be bumped from the industry average of 10% up to 20%. And the more tailored your leads are to you, the higher your conversion rate is going to be. So at best, at a 20% lead conversion rate, now you're looking at an acquisition cost of $1,500 per client. And our goal here is within 6 months to bump you from a 10% industry average to a 20% conversion rate. And I'll show you exactly how we can do that for you. So this is non-exclusive leads, and I've gone through with problem number 1, problem number 2, and problem number 3 with non-exclusive leads. And it's why I believe non-exclusive leads should not even be something that you consider ever. The next lead type are exclusive leads. Now, what's important about exclusive leads, I want you to understand. So let me give you first the National Law Review's deal, their definition of, and the industry's definition of what an exclusive lead is. An exclusive lead distribution model is based on generating new case leads in a particular market for one attorney exclusively. What that basically means is that the lead generation companies you're dealing with, they won't sell the lead that they sell to you to 3 other lawyers. So you're not dealing with that 25% best hope situation. Now, the thing that the National Law Review points out, which is true, is that exclusive lead distribution up front can appear more expensive than the non-exclusives. But because you're looking at an average, when you're wanting exclusive leads, you're looking at an average of $200 to $400 for a personal injury lead. Now, what I want to point out about this with our company is we have a different definition of what exclusive is. The industry definition, even according to the National Law Review, and with what your lead generation companies define exclusive leads as, are leads that are only going to one attorney. Okay, that's an acceptable definition of exclusive, but that's not what we mean. What we mean when we say exclusive is we will market to the prospect using you. So just to press pause here and not confuse you, when you work with our firm on getting exclusive leads, you have to agree to make 3 to 5 minute videos, or longer if you wish, videos that where you are talking, you are explaining something, and you are earning that person's trust. Because as attorneys, sometimes you guys can forget. But I've never been an attorney, first of all. I've always been a client on that side of the table. And what sometimes lawyers can forget is that when people need an attorney, they're in a certain state of uncertainty, which the human being never does well in a state of uncertainty, no matter what it is. Even if it's ugly, if it's known, it's far better than the unknown. So you have people in a state of mind of uncertainty. They don't know the process. They don't know the terms. They don't know what to expect. So our position is that the lawyer, who is the one who educates the person on what to expect and calms them down, this is the lawyer who will earn that prospect's trust. So, getting off the pause button, when you work with us, we ask that you provide us with at least 3 videos on 3 different topics, and written articles if you have them, because that's what we use to market with. So if a person is on YouTube, say for instance, a person is on YouTube and they're looking for, maybe they're just looking up horrible car accidents or slip and fall accidents, and they're looking at different videos. What we do is insert a video of you explaining and calming them down. Because anytime, again, I want you to understand, and remember this, I'm not teaching you, I'm reminding you. Listen, whoever teaches you about a thing, whatever the topic is, in your mind, on a subliminal level, that person becomes an authority on the topic, and you can exhale, you can take a breath. That is how we present you to the prospects that we approach on your behalf. So when we bring you a lead, that person is not, it's not just a situation where you're the only attorney that we're selling that lead to. You're the only attorney who could possibly use the lead, because we first expose them to you, explaining something to them, educating them on something. And so they make the connection, I want this lawyer. And so our leads are more than exclusive, or our definition of exclusive is more comprehensive than the industry or National Law Review's definition. We should perhaps say personalized leads, because if you watch me on a video explaining and calming you down about something you're nervous and you're uncertain and stressed out about, this thing has happened, now you got to deal with it, you need legal representation, it is the lawyer who explains and breaks it down to you that you're going to have confidence in. Those are the kinds of leads that we provide you. So I just want to be clear that when we say exclusive, we don't mean what the National Law Review means. We don't mean what the industry of lead generation companies mean. Exclusive, fine. I'll let them have that definition. But I want you to understand that with us, the definition of exclusive really, really means exclusive. So moving on. The benefit number one that you get with exclusive leads as we define them is that, of course, just like the industry definition, no other attorneys are competing with you for the leads. The only thing you're competing with is time, because you have to remember, people are looking for relief from this thing that they're stressed about, whatever this legal issue is. And so we can't stop nature. What is nature? Nature is a person is going to dig and scratch and claw for some relief until they get it. So if you're not timely and responding to them, we have no control over the fact that that person is going to continue looking. So once we provide you with the lead and that person has already felt like, wow, I like this guy, he's sharp. Did you see the way he explained that? Did you see the way she explained that? That's what we provide you. But we don't want you to have a system where you don't have a sales process to close them. You need to call leads within 15 minutes, really, of them being provided to you, or as close as you can possibly to that. So I just want to explain to you the benefits, what we mean by exclusive, and the first benefit. The second benefit of exclusive leads over non-exclusive leads is that, as I explained to you just now, the leads we provide you have already been exposed to you by way of video, articles, both. One or the other or both. So they're already warm leads, not just warm, but they're warm for you. And so this we believe makes us far more powerful a lead source than the industry average or how the National Law Review defines exclusive. Benefit number 3, and this is most important. If you remember in the prior video, I was explaining to you that the number that really matters at the end of the day is cost per acquisition. How much is it going to take you to actually lock that client in? How many leads are you going to need to actually convert them into a client? And the way we see it is when we prep this person for you, when we use your video explaining something to give them the calm and the confidence that they need, we're already increasing your chances of converting that lead, because half the job is already done. You've already called them. Now they need to speak to you in real life. They saw you on YouTube or wherever we placed you, whether they were playing a game on their phone. And you know how on games when you may make a play and before you can go to the next scene, there's this little ad. We do everything. We put you everywhere that matters. So wherever they saw you, you've already warmed them up. And so what we're trying to do is reduce your cost per acquisition. So if you get 10 leads from us, the chances of you closing 3, which is a 30% conversion rate, is not out of the question because of the way we've prepped them for not just an attorney, but for you. So understand that about dealing with us on this issue of exclusive leads. Now, in our next segment, I'm going to walk you through the math and actually show you how this approach just makes more sense. So make sure to continue to this next section, have your pen and pad out, and we're going to do the math on this.